Welcome back. This is Retirement News Online from our studios here in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. And today we're talking about taxation, which a lot of people don't at first consider to be a big part of retirement planning. Guess what? It has a significant impact on long-term wealth, yet they're often overlooked as part of a comprehensive financial plan. Effective tax and income planning isn't just about reducing taxes today. It's about making strategic decisions that can help maximize after-tax income and preserve more wealth over time, and then you don't get to pay the government so much. Now today we're going to explore how thoughtful planning, a common theme in everything we talk about here, can help individuals and families keep more of what they earn and create greater financial flexibility. And joining us once again, David Newby, Summit Wealth Group, right here in Scottsdale, Arizona, a stone's throw away.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming back. Sometimes people just don't want to come back, but I appreciate you. So, when you work with clients, how does tax planning, which I think, as I said, is often overlooked sometimes, how does that fit into an overall, retirement plan?
For us, it's front and center.
Yeah.
Many clients come to us after working with an advisor for 5, 10, 15 years, and they'll say something to the effect that my advisor just said I was too old for Roth conversions. No analysis, no strategic planning ever done, just telling them you're too old, it doesn't make sense. And from our standpoint, tax planning, retirement income planning are front and center. They are extremely coordinated and integrated, where if you don't understand the tax consequences of what you're doing, then you're going to be giving away too much money to the government. And from our standpoint, with our financial planning team that we have and are so blessed to have as part of what we do, most clients ultimately end up hiring us because they have never sat down with a firm who does the type of tax planning that we do.
Besides, that as a common mistake, they actually aren't doing it or they really don't have a plan. What are the common mistakes that people make around tax planning? Because again, it seems to be something that, you have to be a full retirement planner to have that kind of conversation. You got a lot of people maybe working with people who simply are just managing assets.
Sure. I think a lot of people have in their mind that they'll meet with a planner when they retire, but the reality is those 5 or 10 years before they actually retire are the critical timeframes that they should be meeting with someone, because that's where you're truly determining, number 1, are you ready for retirement? Number 2, when should you draw Social Security? Number 3, what does your healthcare cost look like? And all of those things you need to have coordinated so that when your retirement day comes and your income drops, you can start to actually implement some of these retirement strategies that we've been discussing for years and are ready to implement in that given year or on that given day. For a lot of people, they just put it aside and believe that they can do this at a later date, but the reality is those who plan earlier are in a far better position down the road and have more flexibility than those who plan at or after retirement dates.
And so, I think for the average person who was listening here, let's talk about how that relates to income, because income, there's RMDs, as you said, Social Security is taxed, right? Your income actually determines how much you're going to be paying for Medicare. There's a lot of other ramifications to that. How do you manage all that?
So you better be using a sophisticated tax planning software to do it. And I can tell you just from a statistics standpoint that less than 15% of all financial advisors in the industry across the US do tax planning for their clients. From our standpoint, it's about your effective tax rate. It's about looking at where your income sources are and trying to minimize the taxes that you're paying every single year. And that's a process that we go through. We have a dedicated, refined process we walk clients through so that we don't miss something on a year-to-year basis, because it's not just about doing it once. Clients need to understand that tax planning and income planning is an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing process that needs to be reviewed on a regular basis.
And so when you talk about, the average client, what opportunities are commonly overlooked? So, we don't need to get normally so specific, but like Roth conversions, things like that, sometimes they're appropriate for some people. Some people don't know that they're eligible for them because of their income, but that's one strategy. How does all that tie into the financial goal?
Yeah, it's a lot of things to your point. It's Roth conversions, it's Medicare planning, it's Social Security and when do I take it, it's charitable giving, utilizing things like donor advised funds when maybe you have a higher income in the years before you retire. You want to take advantage of that and get some deductions but while your income is still high and your deduction level is higher. In addition to that, it could be things such as gifting to children. One thing we talk about a lot is for older clients, if they have IRA assets, how can we get the IRA assets from them to their children who might be in the 35% tax brackets? Those are the types of things that we can do, is getting it into the children's names and into the children's bucket while still paying mom and dad's tax rates.
Sure.
And those are just things that we feel like clients are missing day in and day out when they come into our office.
And I think people probably always think they're going to be in a lower tax bracket when they retire. That's often not the case, is it?
It's often not the case, but I think you have to take it a step further. Is it when you start to sit down with clients and project out what their RMDs are going to be possibly in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, people don't go through the process and realize that those RMDs, if they have a sizable IRA, might be pushing them up into the 30% tax bracket. So if you can look at your situation now and figure out how to pay tax rates on that money in the 12-24% brackets and maximize those buckets of money before you automatically get pushed into the higher brackets later on, that's also a big piece that people tend to miss, is not thinking about the size of these RMDs down the road.
You know, and market fluctuations aren't the only thing that's kind of unpredictable here. Policy. So tax laws can change, as I think you've talked about in our previous interview, which is something that can happen year to year. Right now, I think taxes are still on sale in many ways. I think people consider that, and you would automatically think, well, that's a good time to do a Roth conversion. Not for everybody, right? So how do you handle policy?
That's a big one. We can't control that, right? And I think that at the end of the day, we have to sit down and look at what we can control and plan accordingly. There are clients right now that they're wanting to get more Roth conversions done before the new administration may come in after this one, because tax rates may go up. So I think that you have to, again, take advantage of what's able to be done today. However, you need someone who can act quickly when tax laws and rates may change, and implement a new strategy and review that strategy with you. And once again, I think that's something that most of our industry tends to miss, is by just talking about investments and performance, there's a lot that's being overlooked.
Thank you, David. Great conversation.
Thank you, Scott.
That is David Newby with Summit Wealth right here in Scottsdale, Arizona. You've been watching Retirement News Online. There is more at retirementnewsonline.com, and we'll see you next time.